You're listening to a Roddenberry podcast.
Well, if you're lost in an endless system of dark tunnels and can't figure out how to leave, just look for the helpful green lasers pointing the way out. It's Monday night, it's 7 p.m., and you're with us, and that can only mean it's time for Mission Log Live. I'm John Champion.
And I'm Holly Amos. Tonight it's time to recap and discuss Star Trek Picard Season 2, Episode 9. Oh, we're almost there. Hide and Seek. It's a trip through Chateau Picard's basement. Or I mean Picard's mind. Either way, same thing. We're also going through the Borg Queen's head and Jean-Luc's nightmares. As always, we want to hear from you in the Facebook chat and live with us. You know what to do. Click on the Zoom link or give us a ring by using the one tap from your phone or call us at 669-900-6833. Enter the meeting code and the password and you will be in the Earl Green room.
Yes. And then you know what happens? Earl Green in the Earl Green room will point you to us, or you might just hang out with Earl Green in the Earl Green room because apparently that's also where the party is. Holly, are you okay? Are you all right? Is everything all right?
The elephant in the room is that I have...
do we need to pause at any point and get you some water? Maybe take a break?
I have my tea.
Okay.
No, we're going to address this early so that people don't think that something has gone terribly awry. This is totally, I asked for it. This was a cosmetic procedure that I opted to have done. And I'm fine. I have a tiny stitch underneath here holding together my skin because a piece of skin was removed. It is getting tested for cancer, although that's not the entire reason why I had it taken out. I had it taken out because it was a permanently stretched out pore called a dilated pore, and I wanted it to go away.
Good. Well, I'm glad you got it to go away. And look, and if things start to come apart and open up tonight during the show, just put off your camera. Just,
I couldn't decide. I was like, because the stitch is black.
Oh,
it's a single stitch, but it's black.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't know which one is better, but listen, it's going to get tested for cancer, which is probably something that everybody should do too.
Absolutely.
I've had problematic skin most of my adolescence and into my adulthood. And it's okay to go to the dermatologist. You should and take care of things, whether it be cosmetic or cancer concerns.
Oh, I'm white. First time I went to a dermatologist, it's like, who's the redhead in your family? And I'm like, no, I get it. I know. It was my great grandmother, by the way. I'm just hoping we get to that Logan's Run thing where you're laying on the bed and the laser comes out and it zaps you. And then a split second later, the little cooling steam comes out and you're all patched up. You're good to go.
Yeah.
And nobody ever know. Go to New You. And that's what you do. All right. Well, I'm glad that you're well. And, keep the medical updates coming for us because we all care. Okay. All right.
Yay.
Very good. All right. Well, let's check out who all is in the chat. Let's see. I think we have at least two Pauls just right away. I see Paul Harveth. I see Carlos. I see Cosmo. I see Jane. I see David. There's probably at least another David there. I see Jason. I see Spencer. I see, who else? Cooley. There he is.
Cooley.
There's John Cooley. There's Carrie. There's the other Dave. I knew. Let's see here. Questions coming. People are already chatting. Paul Wright, that's our Paul number 2. He says, poor Holly.
You know what? I opted to have it done. I went in and said, please remove this.
There you go. There you go. And Scott Palm says Holly is the new Borg Queen.
Does the Borg Queen put on bandages? I think she just goes along with it.
Need time to heal?
She would be fine with a gaping open pore.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's see. There's Brian. There's Evelyn. There he is. There's Bob Amos. And Bob says, and she never told her mom or dad.
About what? About this? My mom was the first person I called.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, just want to make sure. Oh, and then Carlos says, if Holly starts eating Tesla batteries, run. So then we'll know that there's something coming from that little procedure there. So all right. So we're all good. Nice checking in with everybody here, and already there are people waiting in the callers queue. We got Alan, Jason, Paul, Matthew. So everybody else, go ahead. Now is the time. Call in, get in that queue so we can take your questions and comments. Can't wait to hear what people say about tonight's episode. By the way, before we get to that, don't forget, this week on the regular mission log on Thursday, we will release Prime Factors. Had a really good discussion about that one, so please check out that episode. Let's talk about mission log spinoffs, The Orville and mission log Prodigy. Did you know that both of those shows are available as podcasts and videos? We release all of those on YouTube and in our podcast feed. So if you want to catch up on recent episodes like the Orville interview with writer-producer David A. Goodman, such a fun interview, you can go to podcast.roddenberry.com, you click on the show that you want, and then you can find every available audio feed as well as the YouTube channel for each show. Mission Log Engage, that is a playlist you will also find on YouTube for your perusal. So more episodes are coming soon, and please send us your comments and questions for future installments. Please, under 12 pages, single space. That would be very helpful as Norman and I go through those comments. That address again for YouTube, youtube.com/Roddenberry Entertainment or Roddenberry Prod. And make sure you stay in touch with all of those podcasts again at podcast.roddenberry.com. And now, if you'll allow me, a little recap of this week's Picard, Season 2, Episode 9, Hide and Seek.
Little?
I tried to keep it down to a few paragraphs. Wait, okay, well, that looks a little longer than when I wrote it. But, we'll bear with me. We'll get through this together. It's not looking good on La Sirena. Quasi-Borg soldiers keep beaming in, and Agnes Jurati Queen gets ever closer to becoming completely Borged out. Rios, Dr. Ramirez, and her son run for cover at Chateau Picard, just as the chateau's namesake and the clothes? Really? Wow, thank you, autocorrect. And the others beam in to see if they can hold off those soldiers and still somehow prevent Jurati from taking their ride home. The Jurati part of the Borg Queen's mind has set up a little roadblock for the Queen, though. She locked La Sirena's controls and then promptly forgot the password. Only she put it in a holo simulation of one of the ship's passengers, Elnor. So anyone who wants that code has got to go through the emergency combat hologram. As Holo Elnor plays full contact body count keep away from the Queen's soldiers, the rest of the crew are doing the same, defending Chateau Picard while trying to hatch a plan to take back La Sirena. Not participating will be Rios, Ramirez, and the boy. Once Rios is hit with enemy fire, Tallinn beams them back to her apartment, and Picard orders that she lock them out from coming back. Then it's time to greet a returning, oh, hello, Dr. Sung. He's here to wipe out Picard himself, make sure the Borg Queen keeps La Sirena, destroys the Europa mission, and thus ensures a Sung dynasty in the future. Picard isn't having Sung's offer and instead convinces Tallinn that they need to retreat deeper into Chateau Picard's tunnels while Seven and Raffi fight their way to La Sirena. All of this brings back challenging memories for Picard. He, the young boy, playing hide and seek, ding, 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 with his haunted, melancholy mother, while his curmudgeon father does other things. Seven and Raffi keep inching their way back to La Sirena. Holo Elnor does his best to thwart the new Borg Queen. Dr. Ramirez does her best to talk Rios out of rewiring Tallinn's transporter, since he's injured and should not go back to help the others. That leaves Tallinn and Picard going ever deeper into the depths of the chateau, with Sung and a few quasi-Borg soldiers on their tail. But Seven and Raffi have snuck back on board La Sirena long enough to find Holo Elnor, and he gives Seven the ship's access codes, which allows her to beam out all those soldiers directly into the walls of the chateau. That buys Picard and Tallinn a little time, and they head to the solarium. What it doesn't do is beam away the new Borg Queen because she has a transport inhibitor, which she's itching for a fight. Her Borg tentacles disrupt the hologram, knock the gun out of Raffi's hand, and stab Seven painfully in the abdomen. Then she transfers ship controls back to herself. As Seven lays dying, Jurati Queen picks up a knife to finish her off, but it's the voice in her head, Agnes's compassion and care, that takes over for a moment. she can't finish off 7 as Agnes's voice has gotten stronger. She sees what the Queen has seen, certain doom for the Borg in every version of every timeline. Her driving force is connection and longevity, and that's why she's always been fighting so hard. Here, then, is an opportunity for the Borg to start anew without having to exist through fear. Agnes's voice of reason merges enough with the Borg Queen that she revives 7 by making her Borg again. This new Queen, the summation of the previous Queen's knowledge and experience along with Jurati's appeal to do something better for the species she encounters, gives it all a second thought. And that's quite a good deal to have this ship here, 400 years in the past, to get moving on a whole new kind of Borg collective, one that sees strength in diversity. Meanwhile, back at the chateau, Picard and Tallinn have made it to the solarium, but Soong and his goons are right behind them. Soong speechifies a bit about his glorious future, even as Picard tries to reason with him. As the reasoning runs out, though, Rios has made it back through the transporter and saves the day. Only Soong has run off when he accidentally sets Tallinn's disruptor to destruct. Rios heads back to his ship, but Picard stays behind, haunted by the memories that flood back. Foremost, the repressed memory of his mother's suicide, the tragic moment he couldn't remember for all these years, the person he couldn't save. Jurati Queen beams 7 and Raffi to the chateau grounds as she departs with La Sirena, just in time for Rios to watch her fly away. And as Picard and Tallinn join the group, they have no ship, but they have each other. And there's still the matter of the Europa mission, which Dr. Soong will surely try to stop. There was one last message from Jurati Queen before she left, though. There must be 2 Rene Picards, one who lives and one who dies. And that sends our team away to resolve that mystery before the Europa launch, the end. What? Yay. You got that look on your face, Holly.
No, I was about to sneeze.
Oh, that it was not an editorial comment.
No. You ended on the 2 Rene Picards, and I was like, my immediate thought when she said that, I was like, is it the same Rene Picard that she's saying? There needs to be one of this version of Rene, and because I mean, a Rene Picard dies, but way off in the future. Picard's nephew's name is Rene, and he dies in a fire. Yeah. Which we find out about in Generations. We don't actually see it. We just watch Picard as he finds out about it.
Right. Yeah. Well, she could mean those 2 Renes, or she could, given all the timeline shenanigans and everything, you could possibly have other Renes or uses for Rene here. So I guess we'll just have to wait and find out, won't we?
We will.
All right. Well, let's speculate further with our first caller. Yeah, joining us from the poster for the 2008 promo of the 2009 J.J. Abrams Star Trek film, it's Alan. Welcome to the show, Alan. How's it going?
Hi, John. Hi, Holly. Well, first of all, I'd like to start off by quoting that old French proverb. Inside all of us, there are 2 Rene Picards, and the one that survives is the one that you feed.
That's so good. Those French, they know how to turn a phrase.
Exactly. So, yes.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Well, I guess we have to see which Rene Picard gets fed, and then we'll know what happens.
Yes.
Is that okay? So, do you have a speculation about the 2 Renes? One who must die.
I kind of agree roughly with the idea of it meaning both. His nephew and his progenitor or ancestor, I guess, that they're dealing with now. That is sort of a peculiar turn of phrase.
I don't know why I thought of the nephew when she said, I didn't even think that it meant 2 versions of the ancestor female astronaut. My brain immediately went to Rene already died.
Yeah. Well, we've spent so much time at the chateau, and that's where that took place.
Right.
So it's sort of foremost on our minds. So overall, I really enjoyed this episode. I thought thematically that it held together very well. The idea of it being hide and seek in so many different ways was just it was really good. This sort of was like kind of it's not that I totally agree with some of the criticism of the season so far, but last week when I wrote my question for Kirsten, this is kind of what I had in mind, was an episode that can exist on its own, that has its own themes running together, side by side, but also contributes to the greater whole. This was good.
Nice.
Yeah.
By the way, as we were talking about various pieces of the Picard family, somebody did mention where is Robert? And, Paul played away at boarding school. Apparently, it was explained in an earlier episode.
It was such a throwaway comment by Yvette that your father is out in the dirt while your brother is toiling away at school. So yeah, he's at boarding school.
Nice.
This is the why Voyager holodeck question of season 2 of Picard.
Right.
Yes. It's like, they explained it.
Yeah, I cannot tell you how many emails and comments we have gotten about, well, if they can't use the replicator, why can they use... Now, I'm not saying I agree. I'm not saying that it totally holds up to logical scrutiny, but they did at least address it. There is a throwaway line that addresses it.
Yes.
Because they knew that people would ask.
Well, it's the same way they're
paper over this issue.
Yeah.
the same way that they're addressing the retcon of Yvette committing suicide.
Well, okay. So and by the way, somebody said in here who played Maman. Who was the old Maman in TNG, and I think Carlos, maybe you're asking for the actor. And
someone on the Discord went through this.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yes, there is quite a discussion in the Discord about that, and I think her
name is Herta Ware.
Nicely done. Thank you, IMDb. But what I really like is just very specifically the phrasing of that line that Picard has, that Jean-Luc has in this episode. I used to imagine her as an old woman serving me tea and dropping in for a chat. And that just adds so much more weight and resonance and heartbreak to that scene. Yeah, which, look, in early TNG, I think as they are finding the characters, there are little biographical details that they throw in like that they're really not thinking too deeply of. It's just like...
They're certainly not thinking that it's going to still exist 30 years later and someone's going to want to retcon it.
No, absolutely not. But I this is the kind of retcon that I really like, where just with a few choice words in a sentence, you can really just add layers of depth. You're not rewriting something, you're just adding depth. And wow, then that really means that Picard has walked around with this idea of his mother in his head for so long. It's tragic.
For those of you curious, this is she appears now as what we are accepting as having been an illusion based on this episode, but it's the episode where no one has gone before. It's the 6th episode of the first season. So if you guys want to watch that, I did see somebody arguing about the fact that a photo of her also appears in the Picard family album. It is in the Picard family album. It never appeared on screen though, so it doesn't count.
Okay.
That could be the old woman template that he has used to sort of imprint this idea of his mother onto.
Could be a picture of a hologram.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Computer, create old woman.
Right reaching.
Right. So wait, Holly, in that, because I obviously you've seen the book, and I think many of us have seen the book.
Yeah, the book is in the archive. Yeah,
but that book, was it at the Experience for a little while? And did they not change the pages in that book?
They did. They partially changed the pages so that people who were repeat attendees would see something different, but they also partially changed it because the lights were not kind to any of the things that were under those lights.
Sure.
So it was open to a page with Wesley Crusher for a very long time, and it's very apparent in the center that the light was on it for a very long time.
Interesting. Interesting. And fun fact: if you keep turning the pages, there's the Jean-Luc Picard recipe for spotted dick somewhere in those pages.
There's all sorts of random stuff in there.
I made that up just because.
There's
yeah.
You had me.
I mean, I've looked through it, and you could have fooled me because there's enough stuff in that I would have been like, oh yeah, maybe I just missed that. I believe
It is my favorite dessert.
Yeah,
Right.
I believe Denise Okuda mostly put that book together.
Nice. Well, that would make sense. Good.
Here's a picture of my fish.
Is there a picture of Livingston in there? I don't think there is.
Well, there should be, because there is no more Livingston after after what happened to the Enterprise D. I'm just gonna say, I don't think the fish could make it.
Another Picard family tragedy.
Exactly. And Picard imagines future conversations with his fish. Alan, any other thoughts on tonight's episode?
I did come with a bit. I just finished watching The Ready Room, and Michelle Hurd explained that when people wrap the show, she comes and spends some time with them and often sings a song. So I have prepared something for one of our cast members who may or may not return. So on the assumption that this may be the end.
Okay.
Star Trek Picard so groovy. Hey, can we get a movie? What do you say now, Elnor? Can we? Elnor, gee, we think you're swell. Do your action scenes so well. Your Rafi's pride and joy, etc. Elnor, even though you died, you still got to show your pride. Here's hoping that you will get better.
Oh my! I mean, come on!
I don't think I've ever heard anybody croon the word etc.
Etc.
It was yes. Oh my!
It was either that or Agnes Jurati merged with a Borg that she took to the past.
Oh my God!
Fast. Assimilation, beaming the drones to the Chateau Picard. Shoot up the yard.
Amazing.
Oh my God!
La Serena.
What's it like in your brain?
I don't know.
Stuff just happens.
It just comes out. These, like I said on Facebook recently, these are the thoughts that kept me out of the really good schools.
Carlos
this is parody. Thrilled. This is all parody. Those were parodies. This is fair use.
Carlos is thrilled. Podcast and a song, multiple songs. So yes, Mike thrilled. La Sirena, definitely giving you thumbs up there. And then wow, and David says closed captioning can detect and spell etc. properly.
Wow,
so,
excellent.
Yeah, man,
that's amazing.
Well done.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
I feel terrible for our next caller, who better have a song prepared.
Three songs.
Better have three. Awesome. Paul says, Alan for the win again. Oh, there you go, man. All right. Well, Alan, take care.
We'll see it. We'll see you maybe for a 2 for next week.
Yeah. I can't wait. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Have a good one, man. Take care. All right, and now with the musical stylings of Jason. No? Yes?
No.
It's a lot of pressure.
It is a lot of pressure.
No. If I was singing, the podcast would end. You do not want me singing at all.
Sound of a needle scratching across a record. And
yeah, like that. Okay. Can't carry a tune in a bucket with a forklift and a chain, so we'll go with that.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, man. Maybe you just haven't found the right song. Maybe that's
I'll keep looking.
Okay. All right. Well, other than music and not performing a song tonight, what is on your mind, Jason?
Girardi's speech.
Oh, okay.
Bring it.
That was for one. Okay, one, I love the irony that we had probably one of the best Picard speeches ever, and Picard didn't give it. The second thing, though, about Girardi's speech, as much as I was like wanting to stand up and applaud, I also had to sit there and go, is that really going to work?
I have the same question, mostly attached to the timey-wiminess.
Yeah.
Because if there's no Borg as we know them in the future, doesn't that still fundamentally? I mean, it certainly changes, like Picard for sure. It changes Seven.
So is this like a Back to the Future thing then, where they're returning to a changed future because they changed the history of the Borg? Or, well, yeah, because Jurati Queen is leaving Earth 400 years in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 400 years of Borg development with her motivations, her mind. Are there other Borg queens? Are there other Borg offshoots at that time that are out there doing their thing? Because it could mean that basically they're returning to Hill Valley version 2, where you've got the better version of the McFly family. I don't know.
I'm almost positive, the Borg queen we saw at the beginning of Picard has to be Jurati. It just loops back too quick or too well for it. But I'm sitting there going, well, okay, I'm confused. I'm very confused on how this is going to work, even given travel time between Earth and the Delta Quadrant. I mean, that would have taken Voyager 78 years, so that's still 300 of Borg.
Right. Yeah. You're blowing my mind a little bit here because
I mean, there's a lot of stuff that wouldn't happen. Like first contact is an interesting one because that's also timey-wimey, right? Like they travel back to stop the Borg. Maybe they wouldn't have to because the Borg's motivation isn't to stop first contact at that point.
Right.
I
think we broke the timeline.
I think so. Paul says it would change everything. No Wolf 359, no Deep Space Nine.
Oh, you know who wouldn't die then?
Sisko's wife. Oh, so you could just be done with that. So, I mean, wow.
And then Sisko wouldn't hate Picard.
Right. Oh man,
Jake would be an entirely different person if he had a mother figure in his life.
Yeah.
Sisko would be an entirely different person having not lost a partner.
Dave says it's so messy, so many dead butterflies.
Yeah, we're just crushing butterflies everywhere. Listen,
so many.
And here's the thing: is even the crazy thing about timey-wiminess of all this is even if you change something that's terrible for the better, in terms of changing the Borg's motivation from assimilating people out of fear and horror, even if you change it to something good, it still fundamentally changes the way everybody interacts with each other, the way people develop as a character, as a person. Like it still changes everything.
Yeah. All right. We need to talk to another writer about this. By the way, your dad says, and like the McFly family, the Borg Queen will return and direct an episode of Picard. So well said. Man, that's now that we're all sort of we've had our brains rattled by this revelation, I do want to go back to that speech though, because I thought, in the tradition of Star Trek, whether it's the Kirk speech or the Picard speech or the Sisko speech or the Janeway speech, like that's almost always a great fantasy element of the show, is that the right person with the right words can change history or change the future as it comes. That's what we all want. That's what we all hope for in that moment, And you have to wonder then if the Borg can overcome their programming in that respect, because that is a program that exists, it's running. How much of that can be overpowered by the sense of compassion and respect for life? And I wrote down this line that I thought was so good that Jurati said, what you've written off as weakness is actually strength, cooperation. And that is a great thesis statement for Star Trek overall, but certainly a theme of Picard as a series, or at least as a season. So a whole lot of idic going on in the whole episode, but especially in that moment. But now you have to wonder, how does it stick, and how does it overcome the rest of that programming, and how does it change the timeline now?
Everything else.
everything else. Okay. Any other bombs you want to drop tonight?
Okay, I got one. I'm going to leave you guys with.
Okay.
He's just going to say it and then.
Well, he's going to sing it.
I am not singing it. I'm not singing it. I promise. You don't want it. Okay. Here's an interesting idea. What if, and this is a TNG reference, but going back, why was Data unemotional? What if Noonien Soong made Data exactly without emotion? We know he could do it. Lore had it.
Yep.
But think of the Soong family. Think how completely messed up the Soongs we have seen so far is. Do you think Noonien Soong deliberately made Data without the capacity for emotion to give him the ethics that he and his family lacked? That Data could learn to actually enjoy humanity as is instead of trying to improve it, like the rest of the Soong family seems to be on the verge of trying to do all the time.
Oh, that is interesting. I mean, you would have to assume a lot about Noonien Soong, but he's a smart guy. He, knows how to do his research.
He's a smart guy.
He is a smart guy. Yeah. He could read the records of his family, but would he be able to know, wow, all these people who look exactly like me for hundreds of years, some of them are a bit unhinged, maybe can't be trusted with power. So maybe one of the things, in a very Vulcan way, maybe one of the things to do is to make sure that the next version doesn't, they aren't ruled by their emotions, where they might lash out and create a problem. That is interesting about, that strange sort of fetishization of the unemotional, and would that be an influencing factor on that? That's gotta wonder.
I just was thinking about that, looking at Adam Soong's great mustache twirling villainy that Brent Spiner was obviously having way too much fun.
Brent Spiner as a baddie is throwing me off. He's doing a great job, but Data is my favorite character of all time. So me watching him and being like, oh God.
Yeah. My sons were a little confused. Like, he looks like Data. That is Data.
Yeah.
That's Data. That's the actor. Why is he bad? I'll get back to you on that one.
Yeah. I mean, I had the same, Eric Soong was the same way. I was like, this is throwing me off.
Yeah. Well, and look, one thing that we can say is definitely the Soong genes are very strong for hundreds of years. Yeah, that they all just, absolutely. Jason, thank you very much for joining us. We'll see you next time, I hope. And thank you for the comments and for splitting all of our heads wide open.
Yeah, I have a headache. All right, no songs, but I did give you guys some fun stuff to think on. So
you did. Thank you very much.
Hopefully it equals out.
Yes, it does.
Take care.
Hey, I'm going to read a couple more comments here before we take our mid-show shameless commercialization. I do like here that Alan says that was totally a Kirk speech. She talked down a robot.
Yeah.
Yes. So in the greatest tradition of the Kirk speech, absolutely the case. Let's see here. Carlos says Picard has to sacrifice Robert and Renee to save the timeline. And let's see here. And of course, Alan coming with, give the Borg, you're tired, you're poor, you're huddled masses yearning to breathe free. Of course. Excellent. Thank you for these comments. Alan says Noonien did tell Data that he was not inferior to Lore. Interesting. All right. So next week, a song for Soong. Interesting. All right. Guys, keep at it. I'll keep referring back to your notes. And I do want to just very quickly here, as we got a few callers lined up, I want to very quickly remind everybody that there is a lot of good conversation going on, as referenced by Alan, in the Mission Log Discord, which is exclusive to the Mission Log Patreon. So if you're a member at patreon.com/missionlog, you get all kinds of stuff anyway. You get swag that is exclusive to Patreon. You get early access to the unedited shows. You get video. You get all kinds of stuff. But really the heart and soul of that whole experience is the Mission Log Discord. There are so many channels of communication there. We have our live chats every Thursday afternoon, and it's just great. It is truly a community of people who like to get together and not just talk about Trek, talk about all kinds of other sci-fi, random fandom, the Epicurean channel that I'm a big fan of. So a lot going on there, and it's just lovely to check in every day, see what people are saying, and you don't want to miss out on that. So you know what to do. Patreon.com/missionlog, and very quickly you will get an invitation from us to join the Mission Log Discord. All right. Let us move on to our next caller. It is one of the many Pauls who is a Patreon member and a listener to Mission Log. It is Paul Harveth. How's it going tonight, Paul?
Hey, it's going great. Monday night regular also. Obviously.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks for having me. I can't tell you how much I appreciate you guys doing this. What a amazing display of acting prowess once again. The last caller, Jason, did he mention something about what the Borg message was to Picard when they first came in? That message was look up, correct?
Look up. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Now, did he say anything about that?
No.
Okay, so let's figure out where that has been told to Patrick Stewart, right? It was told to him in the observatory or solarium by his mother.
Right.
How does that get to the Borg? So the only one who has a clue about that right now is Orla Brady's character.
Talin, yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. So how does that get to Jurati next week if she's actually the Borg Queen? So there's a puzzle. That's one puzzle.
Okay.
The other, more interesting puzzle is where is Corey fitting in this? I can't believe she's done. She's going to either run into her father, stop her father, rescue her father. Something's going to happen there.
Yeah.
Very interested to see how that one ties up. And also, at some point, we really have to have the expert analysis of the sword play demonstrated by Jurati and Elnor by Norman.
Yeah, I'm sure Norman is going to have many opinions about that.
Of course, yeah.
And of course, the last one to tie up, Rios has just made a mess of all of this. They've made out twice now. So any opinion, where's that going? I bet she's coming forward.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I mean, you really can't do anything else with that pairing. Either they have to go forward or he has to stay behind. Like we don't want them to split up.
Why?
What? They're lovely together.
No, I didn't say that they weren't lovely. They've already sort of split up. He's like, this is your timeline, not mine. Bye.
But come on. I mean, I feel there's like genuine chemistry. There's genuinely a bond there. I can't imagine that he would just like.
Okay, but that sort of selfish motivation, though, is the same kind of selfish motivation that Soong has. It's wholesome, but it's still going to screw everything up.
Hey, if Kirk can bring Gillian Taylor into the future, because he could have just said, nope, stay right there. We're transporting you back.
I love me some Gillian Taylor too, but that was also a mistake. Many, many dead butterflies.
Who's going to take care of the whales?
Yeah, but butterflies only live a week anyway. I mean, the caterpillars live a long time. The butterflies, we looked this up. You should be able to get 3 or 4 or 5, monarch families a year here in Michigan. So, I'm not worried. It's the caterpillars you got to worry about. So,
well, see, there you go. Exactly. I'm thinking back to that scene in the pilot episode with the Borg Queen saying "look up," and if I'm not mistaken, the voice is actually the voice of his mother? Maybe.
I wasn't sure. John. When that happened, I thought, who? So there's obviously a connection between his mother somehow, but I don't think it sounded like his mother at the time. I thought, well, that's a Borg Queen voice.
Yeah.
It's really, really interesting. Pretty excited for this finale. You also have the Talin characters, ancestor, I guess,
we don't know
descendant.
yet.
Yeah. What's going to happen assuming that they all get back to normal timeline?
Right.
Will that relationship start off better than it had terminated in episode 1? So Wow, it's great. It's a great build up to some. It should be like a 3-hour ending if done the way they've told the rest of this story, stretched it out.
Yeah.
So
this is this is like when you were coming to the end of an episode. I mean, back in the day when we were coming to the end of an episode on network television, and you could feel like that they couldn't wrap it up that quickly, and you're like, oh no, there's a to be continued.
Yeah, right.
Like it's looming. Yeah. I think Jerry Seinfeld has a whole joke about that, but this feels very loomy. Like you're not going to be able to wrap this up in like an hour ish.
Yeah, it'll be really fun to watch. I'm looking forward to it, and then followed by Strange New Worlds. What a great week! What a great week for Star Trek next week. Yeah. So, just want to hear your thoughts on what do you think Corey is going to play in all this.
That's a tough one because I love her moment of breaking away from Soong. I thought that was it was earned, it was powerful, especially when you learn about the history that he's had with just being this mad scientist creator with a god complex, generating all of these offspring, but not really caring about who they are, just about what they are in terms of his achievement. So it was great to see her get away. But yeah, they haven't really tied her to the overall story that well.
The only thing that I can think of is that she's going to have something to do with, she would have something to do with his downfall in terms of him going the way of dying in his 90 proof vomit, or however Jurati Queen describes that.
Right.
I mean, she's going to report him to authorities and but at the same time, she would out herself, right? Like, I am a creation, not a natural born human.
Okay, but if she has something to do with Soong dying, I mean, does Soong have a naturally occurring son or daughter? Because there are many, many Soongs throughout the remainder of the future yet to come, because God knows the Soong genetics are strong and last well into the 24th century. So if he just dies, or she has something to do with his death, who then is there to carry on?
First of all, he is a male in the line of family members. What makes you think that he doesn't have like a brother who's actually like...
Oh.
He doesn't have to be the direct descendant.
It's just strong coincidence.
They're all males, so they're all going to have the same. They're all going to have the same last name,
and they all look like Brent Spiner.
Yeah,
at the party, it would have been so interesting if Soong would have hooked up with Jurati. Just think where we'd be now. That would be amazing. You'd have Soong and the Borg Queen. Holy cow, that'd be interesting. Those offspring would be interesting.
That would be some serious. Yeah,
that should be its own little sitcom. I'll leave you with that. Looking forward to next week.
All right.
Always.
Thank you. See, here's the thing. Jason already haunted us with the timeline thing. You're going to haunt me with the look up phrase, because now I'm going to constantly be trying to put those pieces together, figuring out how in the world those fit.
All year, all season, I've been trying to figure that out. So
fair, absolutely fair. All right.
Carry on. Hope to see you next week.
All right, we'll see you then, man.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Holly, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think Brent has kids, right?
But yeah, he does.
Does he?
I think he does.
Okay. Well, you're going to hit IMDb and find out. But all I want to know is that if Brent Spiner has kids, especially if he has boys, I will be very disappointed if they don't look exactly like him. Like down to
Maybe
every last detail.
I don't know.
I thought he didn't, but
somebody in chat's going to get to it before I do.
They will, but I in order for this to be real to me.
Yes, he does. He has one child.
He does?
Yeah.
Boy or a girl?
I don't know. It says children one.
All right. Well, all right. But they got to look exactly like him, and then I'll be able to believe the Soong dynasty here. All right, let's go to our next caller, calling from a very long way away. It is Matthew. How you doing tonight, Matthew? Good to see you.
Pretty good. If I'm calling into a Mission Log Live, that means it's my vacation. Yay.
Yeah, right on, right on. Because it would be Tuesday. And so you must be off. Is it a spring break? What's going on?
Jackson Spiner. It's a boy. Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right. I look at pictures and I better look exactly like young Brent Spiner. All right.
They call it Golden Week out here, where they just have a few national holidays, and a lot of people get the week off. although they're making the kids go to school on Monday and Friday, so their vacation gets a bit hosed. But
oh wow.
Yeah, I got some time working on my own podcast. Maybe I'll finally build this.
Whoa, nice. Yes.
My Enterprise C has been in my closet for a while, so maybe I have some time.
That's fantastic. I love it. What?
Jackson Spiner does, yes.
Does he look exactly like him?
He's a clone?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
we've got real life like examples. Nick Cage, he was in the Civil War, right?
Yeah, he was in the Civil War. Yeah. So, all right, let's check back in 400 years and see if Jackson Spiner's kids all look like him. All right,
Probably.
Sam, what do you got for us tonight? Not Sam. Sam's coming up next.
Sam's next. Matthew's on right now.
I'm looking at the whole Brady Bunch grid here.
Yeah, we're both on the screen. I get. Oh, wow, that's a real nice lead-in because I was about to mention the Brady Bunch.
Whoa, we're psychically connected. All right.
Yeah. So, Star Trek, we come in, we talk about the substance a lot, right? Where's this plot going? What does it mean? Meanings, morals, messages.
Sure.
This last episode, I really started thinking about the style, something we don't get with Star Trek a lot. And I was thinking of like shows that signify a certain decade. Like the Brady Bunch is a very strong signifier for the 70s. Magnum PI or Miami Vice for the 80s, Mission Impossible for the 60s. I would say Lost for the aughts. And watching this, by going back in time, the show's so stylish. I'm wondering if this is the 2020s vibe we're really getting here.
Ooh. Okay, interesting. What? Let me ask you, what are the stylistic elements that stand out to you that look particularly unique or will forever be associated with this iteration of Star Trek? Because I will tell you, like, there are elements that I think that are really well done, that are hyper stylized in a good way. Like, I think the design of La Sirena is beautiful, but it's also just very practical. Like it is a device for transporting things, but it feels very real in that universe. I think the Stargazer Bridge is very impressive, but it is also very shiny. And that's a little bit like, it's like the first time we see the Death Star. Like everything inside is super shiny. Like I just picture stormtroopers slipping all over the place and falling down, Some of the scenes in this, I felt just from a production angle, like some of those overheads of the quasi-Borg soldiers with their green lasers and the shots going off looked a little video game-ish and not in a good way, and that to me felt kind of dated. But then other things I thought looked really cool, like the sight of Tallinn with that giant blaster that she had. I was like, yeah, I want more of that. So I'm curious, and of course with Seven, the reveal of Seven looking like Seven again at the end, that looks like Seven from the 90s. So there's not a thing there that is specifically 2022. What in it to you is like the thing that'll last?
Actually, it's all the other stuff because Star Trek, like the original show is very 60s, but it's its own thing. It's not 60s style.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking about here are the cars they've chosen to use in the production for our chases and things. The party a few episodes ago, a definite hit. That's just like again, that's Mission Impossible kind of beamed into the modern age. With,
very much so. Yeah.
Maybe by 2024, a red dress with combat boots will be a thing. So
it could very well be. Yeah.
So it's actually the non-sci-fi elements of this that are really picking up, and that's making me think now that we're at the penultimate episode, that maybe the thing I really like about season 2 of Picard is all the not sci-fi stuff. I mean, it's a classy show. It looks good. It's acted classily. People wear nice watches when you see them, with a watch on or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I would say I wonder if because I think you're right. The things that stand out here, like Girardi's dress at the party. For that matter, all the women's dresses look incredible. I mean, most of the guys, when you do formal wear, it's always black tie, and that kind of is timeless. But those cocktail gowns on everybody looked incredible. I think that that's an indelible image, her with the combat boots walking around LA. We're going to see so many cosplay of that. You know, I absolutely know that will be the case. I think that stuff has definitely eclipsed the uniforms, because what's weird to me is that, you know, we had an entire decade, more than a decade, of Star Trek looking like 24th century Star Trek. And those uniforms changed a little, but they all felt like kind of a natural progression. But now that we had so much of that, it feels like it's locked in that time from 1987 to 2001. You know, the TNG DS9 Voyager aesthetic, right? And now whenever they reinvent stuff for modern day Picard, and I won't even get into Discovery because they've had 3 major costume changes so far, those uniforms become really secondary. They become far less important than seeing our characters in their like cool either civilian or butt-kicking clothes. You know, like they made a point when they landed on Earth that like Seven's going through the lockers to find the butt kicking clothes to go blend in, but assume that there will be butt kicking in LA.
It made me think of I think what Valeria said when you did the first episode, which was that you know, the first episode was so Starfleet, it was sort of like a disappointment. I was like, no, that was all cool stuff. Yeah, I liked it. But now that I've seen 8 more episodes, 7 of which are in the 2024 time frame, I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of the this is the ace in their hand to kind of be Star Trek, but not really be Star Trek. And I'm not like gatekeeping way. I'm just saying like we're getting such a different flavor. It's
Well, I think a lot of people felt the same way about Star Trek 4.
Yeah.
Is that the underlying what they were doing was sci-fi in theory, but everything else that surrounded it was 1986 fun.
Yeah, this one really adds like class to the style, I think, though, in a way Star Trek 4 was more about like, like a mid-range Italian restaurant Michelob, right?
Right. But this is a good point, and I don't think this is a right or wrong way to come at the story that you want to tell. The reality is they've got 10 episodes, or roughly 10 hours, give or take, to tell this story. And I said in our recaps and reviews here, I felt like the middle got really slow. And I'm glad that here at the end, we've really ramped up the plot elements that need to get us to the resolution that we want. But I feel like if any of the writers sat around and said, you know what? Star Trek generally does some pretty good things when it tells a story set in the past. When we put our characters there, like First Contact, like Star Trek 4, like where past tense, like the episodes of Voyager where they're in the 90s. So it's almost like a given that Star Trek will do that at some point. And it's just like, how much time are you going to spend there? How much of the story can or should get revealed there? Funny enough, right before we started the show tonight, I got an email from somebody who was complaining that this was like a budget cut to go film in LA. I'm like, do you know how expensive it is to film in LA now?
They shut down everything around Staples Center and the convention center, and that's not cheap.
No, that's why everything's shot in Toronto. Not here, So, it's legitimate for them to look at this and go like, all right, there is a certain kind of formula in certain Star Trek storytelling that affords us to do that. So let's do it. And let's see if we can build, a chunk of a season, like 70% of that season there, and see what happens. And, and very much to your point, I think they found a style then that is very definitive for this show, that is not a style that's definitive for, Discovery or Strange New Worlds or whatever else is to come.
Hey, I want to make sure Sam gets his time, but just one more thought from the Earl Green room where we were thinking after Alan's performance, which I haven't heard yet because I was just watching. But
I cannot wait for you to hear it. You got to go back, download the audio, put it in your MP3. Yeah.
Anyway, the thought is next time there's no new track on a particular week, Mission Log Live needs to have karaoke night where we do the Transformed Man, the Legend of Bilbo Baggins, all of that.
God, yes.
Oh, the Legend of Bilbo Baggins.
Yeah,
that's right.
All right. All right. Well, when we get to that point, when there is no new track to talk about, It's Mission Log Live karaoke party. I love it.
Been a long. Somebody's gonna have to do that.
There's another one. Okay. Always
to.
good to chat. Let's get Sam in as I'm watching the clock tip.
All right, take it easy, Matthew. Cheers.
Bye.
Take care.
Somebody always does Faith of the Heart.
Yeah. Yeah, they do. They do. They're not required to. They don't have to, but somebody does.
Hi,
All
Sam.
right. Wrapping it up tonight. How are you tonight, Sam?
Good.
Good.
Can you hear me? Okay.
We can. What is on your mind?
All right. So let's see. I tuned in a little bit late, so I assumed you talked about who the Borg Queen is from the first episode.
Yes, and there was some speculation that is the Agnes Jurati Queen, but the question became, if you heard Paul saying it, how would she know to say look up?
Yeah, I don't know that yet.
Okay,
but
you're the one I'm counting on to figure it out.
I went back and watched the first episode after this because I was trying to figure out a few things. One, I wanted to hear the voice again on the bridge to see if it sounded like her, and I think it does. The other thing is, though, I'm still thinking that I don't think it would affect any of the Borg stuff to come. I feel like she goes off, does the good guy Borg thing by herself. And
so you think that she's just like a faction that is not going to go along with the rest of the collective's motivation?
Yeah, I think
because it's not the first time that's happened.
Right. And I think that she's her own faction doing her own thing. I don't know if she has, I guess she might have drones and things like that, but not affiliated with all the Borg that we see. So all that stuff can still happen. They go away, and then Agnes, the Borg Queen, has come back. That's why she's calling for Picard. Something's happened, and she's saying, I need help, or I want to join. This is the Borg, not bad guy Borg, saying, I want to join the Federation now. Something like that, but that it's separate.
Okay, here's what I like about all of this, because obviously the whole idea of a Borg Queen is still contentious among many Star Trek fans, but I've always felt if we're going to go that way, one of the ways to accept it is to say that the Borg Queen is partly a function of the collective. Like that is something that they do, and they have created or will create many a Borg Queen at some point. And they may be off doing different tasks in order to then come together to do other tasks. So I that fits in very nicely with that. And by the way, I think something we're all overlooking here, that somebody pointed out very wisely in the chat, where is it? Spencer says the Borg Queen knows Locutus.
Yeah, that's what I just had that epiphany. I was
memories
like, yes,
better than Picard does.
Yes, that's
so. The Borg Queen would know that Picard remembered that, even though he didn't remember that. Wow.
So the alternate Borg Queen that sort of knew the other timelines, that is now with Agnes.
Yeah.
Knows Locutus.
Locutus, yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I buy that.
Because even if that is one of several Borg Queens, those Borg Queens presumably are sharing from the same body of knowledge. So it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same Borg Queen, but a Borg Queen, given however many there may be, they would have that information. That engram that is Picard Locutus is still floating around out there in the collective somewhere. So,
okay. So one more thing, and this may be related and it might not be, and that's the mystery. I still don't know why. I still don't know why the timeline changed. First of all, we have an idea what could cause the timeline to change, but why was it one way and then the other? Like something happened. We don't know who causes it or who might cause it. And then the second part to that is, which is what I brought up a few weeks ago, is why do these people remember the Federation? Why not anyone else?
Right.
And
why specifically these people?
I mean, Beverly makes a comment about that in it's also a throwaway comment. If in First Contact, like if everything has changed, then why isn't it affecting us? And somebody has a theory of timey-wimey nonsense. So
well, okay. So in First Contact, that was explained, well, you know, in Technobabble, that they followed the Borg sphere.
And they were protected by like a bubble.
They were kind of like trapped in that bubble.
Yeah.
Whereas the entire universe has changed around them. And again, it's not the bodies. They didn't travel there. Only the consciousness,
yes,
transferred, but not everyone. And I can't find any connection between them. Like a lot of them are on the bridge near the Borg Queen, so that's a possibility. But there's other people on the bridge, and I think Elnor's not there at all. I think he went to the Excelsior. So I don't see any connection at the moment. Hopefully it'll be explained.
Well, Raffi and Elnor were both on the Excelsior.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I mean, they were on another ship, but they were at that battle. It was not a really battle.
But there was a lot of people.
But there were a lot of people because there were a lot of ships. So did they all get I mean, Q, I don't know. Q's crazy. That's
but by the way, I don't think it's Q yet. I don't think Q has done anything yet.
Okay, I mean, there is an answer to this that Earl Green has dropped into the chat, and it's all spelled out for you in 6 letters, which is Q stuff. So we don't know for sure how much or how little Q had to do with this. But yeah, I'm still baffled a bit by that of why those memories, those consciousnesses would end up where they are. And I don't know that we'll ever really get a resolution on that. But
yeah, maybe not. I'm hoping if it's Q, then he could do it deliberately. He could do it, deliberately. But he hasn't said anything. He still seems kind of surprised that they're even there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, interestingly enough, Paul is saying in the chat, you know, what about Q and all of this? And Elizabeth saying, you're reading my mind because we're all wondering the same thing. Well, here's the thing though. All right. So the episode drops on Thursday, and part of the fun of being in the Discord is people's theories and ideas and spoilers galore. So we get to drop that and have that little bit of a chat, and then come back here on Monday night and see how we did, you know? So I very much look forward to that. And I appreciate the further mind-blowing that you bring to the table, just as you were preceded tonight by other mind-blowing ideas. I appreciate it. I hope we see you here again next week. All right.
All right. Thanks.
Excellent. Take care, Sam. All right. With that, Holly, any final thoughts? Any other mind-blowing things that you want to drop on us before we say goodnight?
No, I have a Janeway headache.
Yes, exactly. That's what it is. All right. Well, with that, Mission Log Live is produced by Roddenberry Entertainment. Technical production on Mission Log and Mission Log Live by the inflammable Earl Green. Be sure to visit podcast.roddenberry.com for the latest from Roddenberry Podcast. If you'd like to support Mission Log directly, give us a look at patreon.com/Mission Log. Special thanks to Holly, and thanks to everyone who has joined us live or later. We look forward to talking with you next week. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
This is a Roddenberry podcast. For more great podcasts, visit podcast.roddenberry.com.